Hello everyone, welcome to SAT 4600 Web Technology, Lab 4. In this lab, we're going to study some advanced topics in CSS and CSS3. This lab is going to be a little bit tough, so plan ahead and give yourself more time on this lab, okay? The first session is easy. We're going to test a visualized CSS editor. The reason why we want to use it, you can use any text editor to edit a CSS file, like Notepad, but you probably get sick with it. Okay, it's so hard to look through such a lengthy code. Now, using the CSS visual editors such as a stylizer here, we're going to use this will present everything in a visual way, so it will make your life much easier. Okay, you can download from here, and they also have a web tutorial here. Okay, let me show you here. Okay, this is their websites. If you click download, will allows you to do the download. If you click the video, they actually have a very simple
Your
tutorial
workflow
here.
starts by
Okay, you don't have to watch the entire video. I would suggest you just look at the first 6 to 8 minutes. That should be enough for you. Okay, I have it installed here. Okay, so this is the visual editor, CSS editor, visualizer. Okay, like you can open any HTML page, open a HTML page, or you can even type a URL here, like HTTP, the website public service career.org. This is the website we use a lot. Okay, and you can see here it shows the basic.css it's using. And if you click any of this, like a body, it will show different properties and the values they use. For example, if you want to change the color, like here, you can change the color to a different one. Okay, you probably didn't see it here, but let's see where you can change, like the header portion. Okay, for example, the heights here. Now, if you want to change the heights, okay, for example, I can make it bigger or smaller, bigger or smaller. You can change the heights. Very neat. Okay, for example, you can also change the font size, like the header, how big the font is. You don't see it here. It's actually in the main content. Main content H1. Like if I change the font size here, that's the main content. You see what how I change the font size. Make it bigger or smaller. Okay, so this is a very easy to use software. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Just play with it. Okay, there's no submission for this session, but I do want you to get familiar with a CSS editor. Now, if you want to do some internet search, you will find out there's tons of CSS editor there. Okay, just use any one you feel comfortable. Okay. By the way, if you don't like Notepad, you can download another free software called Notepad++. Okay, this is much better than Notepad, which I have it here. This is Notepad++. Okay, much better. Okay, now we do section 2. We want to do some special effect. What I want is something like this. Okay, you need to read my example 1, example 2, example 4 in the CSS3 lecture, which is You go to WebCT, you'll be able to find it. Lab 1, example 1, round corner. Example 2, box shadow. Example 4, text shadow. So that's exactly what I want here. Okay, you submit the source code, submit a screenshot. Let me see the demo. Okay, so this is the demo, how the source code looks like. Pretty simple. If you look at the source code, it's very simple too. Okay, so here you define the division with H1 font to be MTU rocks. Okay, and here you define the H1 font. So the font size, text shadow, text alignment to the center. Here you define the division. The width, the height, the background color to be yellow, the box shadow, border radius. And that's what you get here. Very simple, very neat code. Okay. Okay, now we want to do section 3, CSS3 animation. This is just slightly modification from example 7. Okay, read my example 7. Okay, and do a animation. So initially I want something like this, what you get from previous session. After 5 seconds, the width, okay, initial stage, after 5 seconds, the box width changed to 1.5 times. And color change from one color to the other color, like from yellow to red. Okay, and this should be repeated 5 times. Okay, you do some Google search, you'll find out this is the syntax to use. Animation, iteration, count. So how many times you want to repeat animation. Another thing, we try to save some space in coding. So you already see in example 7. Like here, for the animation, you need to write several different lines just to do the same thing for different web browsers. Okay, I just try to make your life easier. So we just want to make it work on Chrome. So you can skip this 2 lines. Just keep WebKit. Okay, the same thing for the keyframe. You see, for the keyframe for each web browser, you need to define a keyframe. But here, because we just do WebKit, so you only need this portion here. Okay, so that may just make your code much simpler. Okay, let's actually see the sample. Did you guys see the sample? See how the animation works? The color change, the width change, and it repeated. Okay. So let's actually see the source code. The same thing. Okay. I think this parts keep the same. H1, division 1, they all keep the same. The only thing we change here is WebKit animation. So now we want to do the animation. The animation we called my first. As I said, this can be any name you want to use. Okay, 5 seconds. WebKit animation iteration count 3 times. Okay, so here you define the keyframes with the name of the animation. From background yellow with 300 to background red with 455. So this will actually change. Do the animation. Okay. Very simple, very neat code. when you do the submission for the screenshot, okay, if possible, just take multiple screenshots to show the animation, but this is not required, okay. Section 4, we're going to study multiple frame animation, okay. That's on example 8. Okay, this is example 8. What I want, initially, the same like section 2, total animation 5 seconds at 30. Now here, 30, 60, 100. So we actually have 3 frames here instead of 4. Okay, at 30% of the time, width change to 1.5, color change to red, location change. At 60, width change again, color change again, location change again. At 100% time, move back. Okay, let's actually see the demo here. Section 4. You guys see the code? It's moving. Okay, I know this is ugly, but that's just a very simple demo. Okay, so what we do here, okay, H1 keep the same, division keep almost the same. The only thing we change here, we define animation. We define how many runs animation should be. Here we define the WebKit keyframe. Okay, here 0% yellow color 300, location it's left 0, top 0. Okay, at 30% of the time, background color to red, the width become 400, the location become 500 pixel and 0. At 60% of the time, become pink color, the width was smaller, and left right, and 100%. Okay, return back. So as you can see, a very simple piece of code allows you to do this type of animation. Okay, so far should be simple enough. If you guys know how the animation works, that should be okay. So section 5, we're going to do a slightly more complicated. Basically what we want to do here is add an image there. You can actually download that image from this location. That's just a Husky. I know everyone likes the Husky, right? So what you can do is put that Husky dog as the background image, like background URL, whatever the image is, background size, background repeat, whether you want to repeat image or not, padding, so there's some space so the word here, the MTU rocks, won't override the image. That's what's the padding used for. Let's actually see the demo code here. Okay, so what I want is not only create this animation, but also try to integrate this animation code into your personal web page. Okay, I know this is annoying in your personal web page, but this is just an exercise. Okay, when you try to put things together, okay, there are many different ways to do it. Okay, you can put everything inside an external CSS file, or you can use internal way to do it. Okay, what I did here is just use the internal way. most of this still keep the same. Okay, starting from here, you see starting from here, that would be my CSS code originally. Okay, then this will be my personal web page. Okay, you just need to figure out how to integrate things together. As I said, there are many different ways. Another way to do it, put first stuff like your personal stuff in one CSS file. Put animation in another CSS file, or you can just put it inline like this. Okay, it's completely up to you. Either way should be okay. So now you just integrate things together. Okay, if everything is okay so far, now we'll go to section 6, which is probably one of the most difficult parts, but also one of the most useful parts in this lab. The challenge here is how to reuse other people's CSS code. Okay, I know if you guys do the internet search, you'll find tons and tons of CSS code online. Okay, a lot of beautiful stuff you want to use. Okay, now here the question is, how can we reuse other people's code? Okay, for example, we just take one example to demo here. This example will allows you to do a Mac look CSS3 drop-down menu. Okay, the URL is here. You just visit this URL. I think I have it here. Okay, so if you move your mouse over, pretty neat menu here, right? It's just like Mac machine. Okay, so our challenge is trying to integrate this drop-down menu into our personal web page. Okay, you may think this is very simple, but actually this could be a little bit challenging. Okay, so how to do this? First, you need to go to this demo page. Okay, get its source code. I already have the source code open here. Okay, this is the source code. Read through this source code. It's pretty simple, pretty easy to understand. Okay, so that's just the regular parts like everybody else. Here, point to the CSS file, style.css. That's the CSS file you're going to need. Inside here, it defines a lot of list items. All the menu item will be showed as list item. Okay, you can just customize this based on your need. Now you need to look at a style.css. Just click it. Okay, you'll be able to actually see the style.css. Okay, if you spend some time, look through this code, see if it actually make a little bit sense to you. I don't expect you to fully understand how this works because that involves a lot of details. Okay, I don't think you should spend too much time to understand those details, but at least look at this code. See if you can just have a rough idea how this make the drop-down menu. Okay, now the most important thing, we want to put this stuff in our own web page, which I showed here. This is my own web page. Okay, at the bottom here, I want to just add a drop-down menu. It's pretty neat. Okay, how to do this? Let's actually open my source code here. As I said, there are two ways to do it. Way first, like here I refer to one of the CSS link, ci.css. That's my original personal website with one of the CSS. Here's style.css. That's what you get from the drop-down list. Okay, this is a good practice if you want to have multiple CSS files. The other way to do it, you just put everything in line, all the style code here. Okay, that also works. It's really up to you how you want to do it. Okay, like the first portion here is about my personal web page. Okay, and here everything down will be the drop down menu. Now, one thing to pay attention to, again, reminding you again, the comment in CSS, it's like this. Okay, don't use like 2/. That's the comment you can use in other parts, like in JavaScript, but not in CSS. Okay, so this is drop down list. I just directly copy from the style.css. Okay, then this will be my personal web page, and at the bottom I just add all the drop down menu. Okay, then I just have this web page like this. Okay, again, still pretty simple, pretty neat. Okay, when you try to put all these things together, sometimes there might be conflict. Okay, let's actually go back to section 5, the conflict in section 5. Now, for example, like just take one example, like H1. Now, for example, like H1 was defined in some CSS parts as this, look like this. H1 defined in other parts look like a different way. So if there's conflicts, what you should do is to make those tags to be more specific. For example, here, H1, then I put division ID equal banner. So this means not for every H1, just for H1 inside the division and inside the banner. Look like this. Like this division, not a generic division, but just division with the banner name. You do this. Okay. This is just the, so this is the code, how it looks like. Okay, I just try to make the video a little bit shorter. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I know the section 6, for those of you who know CSS well, all this lab is pretty simple, but for those students who don't have too much experience with CSS, this lab might be a little bit challenging. But I think this is a good learning experience. Okay, thanks, bye.